Ladies and gentlemen, the Great Eight is proving me wrong. Last year, I made a video talking about Ovechkin and the decline we saw in his scoring, going from 75 points and 42 goals to 31 goals in 79 games. But since then, we have seen Alex Ovechkin absolutely destroy Father Time, and not only has he been extremely productive this season, he could be on track to beat Wayne Gretzky's goal record. But just how much has Ovechkin rebounded this season? How many goals could he score by the end of the year? And could he break Gretzky's goal record this season? Well, make sure you watch till the end as we break down everything about Ovi and his new game this year. And hit that subscribe button if you're new for more hockey content just like this all throughout the season, presented by BetUS. Speaking of which, today's video, of course, is sponsored by BetUS, great friends of the channel. And right now we got really interesting odds with the Metro Division winner. If you're a believer in the Caps, right now they have plus 700 odds to win the division. If you put $5 down, you can win 35 by the end if they were to get it done. But the Caps so far have been turning a page, and if you want to bet on them, if you think they're for real, BetUS is the place to do it. All you got to do is use code YouTube150 when you sign up, and you'll get a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit, and a 125% sign-up bonus on your next two deposits after that. Throughout this hockey season, BetUS is the place to be, and thank you to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. But now let's officially get into this Washington Capitals team and not just talk about how much they've improved, but how much Alex Ovechkin has improved as well. As you guys can see, it's kind of ridiculous that Alex Ovechkin is 39 years old right now, and that makes me feel especially old. But in Ovi's case, you can see the production and how much it's come and gone throughout the years. You can see he got 90 points, 50 goals back in 2022, but last season we just saw more of a decline in his point scoring, going from 90 points to 75 points and then 65 points, and a steady decline in his goal scoring as well, going from 50 goals a couple years ago to 31 goals in 2024. And as we talked about in that video last year, it seemed like Ovechkin had lost a step with his skating, with the confidence especially, and a lot of that was affecting his game. We did see him get a little bit better in those last few weeks of the season last year, but it was a rough spell throughout the middle of that season where Ovechkin was going dry. And you could see really how rough it was. There was a stretch where he went 14 games without a goal from November 22nd all the way to December 20th, and of course December 21st. We didn't see Ovi score a single goal, which was unprecedented for him. It really did seem like Ovi was declining more and more every season, and the Capitals were trying to build a team that might have to deal with Ovechkin and his sudden decline. But what has changed this year has been on a different level. I expected Ovi to have a rebound year. I didn't expect him to have that lack of confidence that we saw last year, but this season has been on a different level. The classic Ovi seems to be back, not just with the confidence, but also it seems like he's gotten quicker, he's gotten more adaptable, and you can see so far in 17 games, he has 13 goals, 10 assists for 23 points. Not only is he scoring goals, he's also playing some of the best hockey he's played in this current era. And of course, as the captain for any team, you're in charge of the leadership there. And the Capitals have been a structured, disciplined, and leading team so far this year. Ovechkin, of course, has a lot to do with it, not just because of the on-ice presence, but of course, off it as well. You can see a pretty big difference in, of course, the rivalry of Ovi versus Crosby, whereas Ovechkin and his team are rising in the standings. Crosby and his Penguins are going on the sudden downturn, and it doesn't really seem like it's going to stop anytime soon. Crosby is trying his best out there, 19 points in 20 games, but Ovechkin has been on another level of impressive, especially considering the age. But it's not like Alex Ovechkin is like 32 years old and he's having a rebound season just because that's what's naturally going to happen. He's 39 years old. He's one of the oldest players in the NHL right now, yet he was able to rebound in such a major way. Some of that, of course, is just getting his confidence back, and the team around him ain't hurting whatsoever. But in Ovechkin's case, he's been playing better in his own right, and he's been looking quicker, he's been looking faster, he's been looking more disciplined. And in Ovi's case, to see that type of improvement in his age 39 season just shows how elite this guy is. I mean, you just look at this according to StatMuse and the oldest NHL players. Ovi is right there with Burns, Corey Perry, and Jonathan Quick as some of the oldest players in the NHL. Only Ryan Suter, Marc-Andre Fleury are above them. So the fact that Ovechkin has been able to do this at this age is unbelievable. Nobody would blame Ovi if at 39 years old he'd continued to decline, because that's what happens to 99.9% of other players. But this elite athlete in Ovi just continues to show what he's made of. But now let's talk about his effect on this Washington Capitals team, folks, because it is unbelievable as well. The Capitals to start out this season have been unbelievable. Right now, they're second in points percentage in the Metro, which is really only the case because the Carolina Hurricanes have been as dominant as they have been. But the Cavs have been one of the best teams in the league this year, and I expected them to make the playoffs. I thought they'd be top 3 in the Metro, which I thought was a little bit of a hot take, but the Capitals went out there and were like, okay, we know you like us. We're going to be even better than that. Sorry, bud. And you can see, so far in 17 games, they have 12 regulation wins, 4 losses, and 1 overtime loss. And also the goals scored as well, which has been the biggest thing that has improved year over year. Even though I love Spencer Carberry and the improvements that he made in that system last year, there were some growing pains, and it seemed like a lot more of a defensive system than what this season would let on. You can see in terms of the goals for, right now Washington is tied with New Jersey for the lead in the division with goals scored, and New Jersey's played 4 more games than them. You compare it to last year, where not only were the Capitals bad offensively, they were the worst in the division. They were the worst goal-scoring team to make the playoffs last year by a pretty clear margin. It wasn't just a couple of goals. They were pitiful offensively, yet were still able to make it in, mostly because of the sound defensive structure, some of the great performances by the goaltending, especially down the stretch. They were able to squeak in, but it wasn't pretty by any means. This year, though, is a lot different. To show you just how different the Capitals have played this year, last season, they were 28th in goal scoring. What if I told you they were first place? Would you believe me? I don't think you would believe me. But just look at NHL.com. Somehow it is real. The Washington Capitals of last year coming into this year are the NHL's highest scoring team in goals for per game. This isn't just something tiny. This isn't a difference of a few points. 10 points even would have been great for the Capitals. They are going from one of the worst offensive teams to the best, and it's not even close. The Winnipeg Jets are at 4.11. The Caps are at 4.24. It's not slim margins or anything. The Capitals are dominant. And you might say, oh, maybe that's because of a fantastic power play. No, look at the power play. They're at 15.4%. That's okay, but it's not even that great. You look at the league-wide power play, and right now the Capitals are 27th. So they aren't even getting bailed out by that or anything. It's pure 5-on-5, even strength dominance that the Capitals are showing. And in Ovi's case, sure, there's been a few power play goals, but the even strength goals have been there too. You look at the scoring, and boy, oh boy, has this been a night and day difference compared to last year to this season. You have Dylan Strome, who was a leader for the Capitals offensively last year. He's not so much on an island anymore, but you can see he's been even better to start out this year. In 17 games, has 5 goals, 21 assists for 26 points. Honestly, one of the MVP leaders for me. He has been so good. But of course, you got Alex Ovechkin there rocking at second place, 13 goals, 23 points in 17 games. But also, look outside of it, man. Connor McMichael has 12 goals, 19 points in 17 games. Alexi Protas, who I thought was a great defensive player, has turned on this offensive switch somehow. And in 17 games, has 17 points. Tom Wilson is playing well. John Carlson looks to be fully back and could even make the Four Nations roster because of it. You got Pierre-Luc Dubois, who looks to be back as well. 11 points in 17 games. He's really started to get going in these last couple of weeks. You got players like Rasmus Sandin, Jacob Chychrun, even Jacob Verana is at have a point per game right now. He looks to be back as an NHLer, which was none of my bingo card. But just look at where Ovi is, man. In terms of even strength goals, only behind McMichael, which I think McMichael's leading the NHL right now. But you also look at even strength points, 17 so far in 17 games. If anybody goes out there and says that Ovechkin is a power play merchant right now, and that's the only reason he's scoring, just look at these numbers, man. It's Capitals wide this year, for sure. They have been so good at even strength, but Ovechkin is a big part of that, a huge reason for that, and you got to commend him for it. Now, we talked about Ovechkin, the Capitals, how much they've improved, but the real question on everybody's mind here is, what is going to happen to the Wayne Gretzky goal record? Is this a record that will be smashed this season? Well, because of Ovechkin's hot start, it's definitely in the conversation. I would have said coming into the year that 2026 was going to be the season we'd see Ovechkin break that goal record, but honestly, of how he's played this year, he could be on track to get it done. You can see he's on pace for 111 points, 63 goals this year. Obviously, I don't think he's going to get up to that type of level. It would be absolutely unreal if he did, but he's on track for an incredible goal scoring year. Even if he were to slip a little bit, let's say he gets 50 goals, that would be enough. You look at the all-time goal scoring, and of course, Wayne Gretzky is number one with 194, but you can see Ovi is only a little bit behind, 28 goals to go, and of course, he's already scored 13 this year. So even if Ovechkin were to score 42 goals this season and get up to that level, he would pass Wayne Gretzky. And considering how much of the hot start he's gotten off to, how much his confidence is rolling, how good the Capitals have been building around him, that is the big thing. Because it seemed like a few years ago, it was going to be Backstrom and Ovi just riding it out right to the very end as much as they possibly could. But not only is Ovi looking for that goal scoring record, he's also doing it behind a great team with great players, great playmakers that are finally able to give Ovechkin what he needs to score up to this level. That to me was the biggest thing that I was not expecting out of this Caps team, how well they've constructed themselves, how much they've rebuilt themselves in a major way. They are not just competitive, they are a contender this year, and obviously that's going to help Ovechkin's goal scoring. But I love the fact that we are seeing Ovi do this on a team that isn't just down in the dumpster and he's just going for these goals because that's the only thing left. Ovi's not just going for goals, he's going for wins, and he's going for that Stanley Cup again, which I never thought I would be able to say. But there's people out there saying that if he continues this streak that he could be going and getting that goal record by the trade deadline, which would be ridiculous. I don't think that's going to end up happening. I do think we'll see Ovi drop back down to earth a little bit because they're just naturally going to happen throughout the rest of the year. But I think at this pace, with how much we've seen out of the confidence, with how much the Capitals improved around him, I think that goal scoring record is as good as done this year. That's my prediction, at least. I don't think it's going to be trade deadline wise, but I could easily see in March, April, Ovechkin right there on the precipice and being able to get it done. He's something that I could absolutely see finishing around 40, 45 goals. If he gets that 45 goal mark, not only does he clear Gretzky, but by a pretty decent margin as well, by a few goals at least. And that would be, I think, the dream scenario. But I could absolutely see Ovi being right there and getting it done a lot faster than we would have expected. Now, this is the Washington Capitals schedule from March all the way to April, and this might be a little bit of a fun game for you guys. I want to know in the comments down below, out of all of these games, which do you see Ovechkin breaking Gretzky's goal record? If you think it's going to happen this year. I don't think it's going to happen before March, for instance, but I could absolutely see this stretch right here, maybe especially with these last few home games where Ovechkin could get in that mix. We'll have to wait and see on that, of course, but I'm going to make a prediction here that unfortunately it's not going to happen at home. I would love to have it happen at home. That would be the dream scenario, but I think it's going to be a random game out of nowhere. I think it's kind of going to be a little bit of a damper, but I think it could be a game versus the Jets versus the Wild. I think it's going to be either one of these two games later in March. As for my official prediction, I think it's going to be against the Minnesota Wild on March 27th. This will be the game that Alex Ovechkin breaks Wayne Gretzky's goal record. Lock it in. I do hope, though, that it's in a much better position against a Metro opponent like the Philadelphia Flyers at home. This would be my ideal game for Gretzky, for this to happen, for this to actually get done. That would be perfect. I mean, versus the Red Wings would also be good, versus the Panthers, obviously. I'm just hoping that it happens at home in front of those Capitals fans because simply, that's what the NHL and all of us deserve. But man, I'm just so happy that I'm able to make this video, being wrong about Ovechkin, because I am so happy that's the case. Last year, seeing him go for those goal scoring droughts, it was just sad to watch at times. And the Capitals really could have used him to be an even better player than he was. And we are seeing that version of Ovi this year. And that's just awesome, man. I mean, I've grown up watching this guy. I've grown up watching his dominance over the years. And I wanted to see another great run out of him. I wanted to see another great season, at least one more, and Ovi's giving us that. My message to you all is to savor this. We only get so much out of the Crosbys and Ovechkins, and they could be gone at any moment. And especially at Ovechkin's age, at 39 years old, there might never be another stretch where Ovi is playing up to this level. So, of course, make sure you savor it. Go catch a Capitals game if you can. Go watch him live if you can. You might not know if you'll ever get the chance again. Ovechkin is playing at this level, and we all need to cherish it and savor it for as long as it lasts. But that's my video eating crow on Ovechkin very happily, by the way, and I hope he continues this dominance this year. I would love your thoughts down below on the turnaround of Ovi, of this Capitals team, and your predictions as well. How many goals do you see Ovi finishing with? I'm going to say 47 on the year, and of course beating that goal scoring record in that Wild game. Maybe he ties it in the Jets game before and beats it in that Wild game. We'll have to wait and see on that. But that would be absolutely ridiculous. Let me know as well which game you guys think it's going to happen in. What do you see the rest of the year looking like for the Caps and for Ovi? And if you think they're a true contender, do you think Ovi can get his second Stanley Cup this year with this Capitals roster? Let me know your thoughts down below. Of course, make sure you share the video with all the hockey fans you guys know online. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And of course, comment down below all your thoughts if you haven't already. And click on this card for all of my predictions content right in one playlist for you guys to binge watch in one place. I will see you guys in the next one, though. I hope you have a fantastic hockey day, and goodbye.